Hey everyone, this is Jason Rifkin from Fit Golf. Today what we're going to talk about is exercises that will help you treat and prevent elbow pain, such as golfer's elbow and tennis elbow. So we're going to cover four things. First, a massage technique to increase blood flow to the area, which can help aid in recovery and healing of the tendon. We're going to cover a couple of stretches for the wrist to help improve wrist mobility. And then we're going to do a few exercises that will help strengthen the muscles of the forearm to make the tendons more durable to prevent this issue from getting worse later on in the season and down the line. So in terms of self-massage, if you have a massage gun at home, this can work great for the muscles of the elbow. If not, you can just use your fingers, right? So what you see me doing and covering the spots with the gun, if you don't have one, just massage with your thumb on the muscles here that we're going to cover. Now, with the gun, if you have some options available, I'd prefer if you use a spongy or soft attachment. There's not a lot of tissue around these areas, right? So sometimes a really pointy attachment or very hard attachment may be a little bit much, especially if you do have a lot of pain and discomfort. So what we're going to cover is four areas. I'm going to turn the gun on to a medium frequency or medium speed. And the first area that I'm going to cover is the underside of the forearm, which is where the flexors of the wrist are. Now this may be a little bit more tender if you have inner elbow pain, which would be golfer's elbow. So for 30 to 60 seconds, we're just going to massage either with the gun or your fingers, the underside of the arm, highlighting or focusing on areas that are a little bit more tender or painful. All right. After that, we're going to flip the arm over and cover the top of the forearm, which is where the extensor of the wrist muscles are, right? Same thing, 30 to 60 seconds. This may feel a little bit more tender if you have outer elbow pain, which is tennis elbow. And then we're just going to do a little bit of time on the bicep. We want to get above the elbow to all the muscles that attach into the elbow. And then we'll get the tricep on the back of the arm. All right, 30 to 60 seconds. So once we get the muscles a little bit looser and we've increased blood flow, we're going to do a couple of stretches to help improve wrist extension and flexion, range of motion at your wrist. So to cover wrist extension, all right, what we're going to do is hold the arm of the affected elbow out straight. We're going to start with wrist flexion, okay? And then we're going to take the opposite arm. We're going to grab and pull tension into the skin. And then from here, with a closed fist, you're going to extend the wrist as far as you can. Once the wrist is in full extension, you're going to spread your fingers apart. You're going to hold that for a couple of seconds and repeat about 10 times. And where you'll feel this stretch is on the underside of the arm and wrist to help improve your mobility in extension. Now, to increase flexion, if you have some tightness on the front of the arm, we're going to do the total opposite. So we'll still hold the arm out straight, and this time we're going to start with the wrist in extension, or the palm up, with the fingers spread out. We're going to take the opposite hand, stretch and put tension into your skin by pulling up towards the elbow. And now we're going to flex the wrist and close the fist. Hold a couple of seconds. And this stretch you'll feel on the top of the wrist and forearm. So that one you'll do about 10 repetitions as well. Now, after we get the wrist and forearm stretched out, we're going to work on strength of the muscles around the elbow. We're going to work on strength of the flexor muscles, the extensor muscles, and the pronators and supinators, which rotate the wrist and forearm. So starting with the flexor muscles, the muscles at the bottom of the forearm, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to take a light weight, okay? I'll show you on the other arm. And you're going to rest the back of your forearm on a table or on your leg. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to flex the wrist, so you'll feel those muscles engage at the bottom part of the forearm. And now this is important. Very slowly, you're going to return your wrist back to starting position in extension. You'll flex and then slowly go back into extension. You want to do this for about 15 reps. Now what I'm doing when I go down slow is I'm applying what's called an eccentric load to the tendon, the flexor tendon. And that's been proven or shown through research to be very effective in management and treatment of elbow tendonitis. So once we do 15 reps flexing the wrist, we're going to turn the forearm over. We're going to start with a flex wrist. We're going to extend the wrist as far as we can, and then very slowly return to start position into flexion. So now we're strengthening the extensor muscles, which may need some work if you have outer pain or tennis elbow. Okay, so about 15 reps doing wrist curls, extension and flexion. After that, all right, we're going to work on forearm and wrist rotation. That's called supination and pronation. So to start, we're going to grab a band, and it doesn't need to be light, and we're going to anchor it down onto the floor with our foot. From here, you'll take your effective arm. You're just going to wrap the band around your palm a couple of times to increase tension. If it's too much tension, then you would lengthen the band by unwrapping it. Now from here, we're going to start with the band coming from the outer leg and the palm up. And we're just going to stabilize our arm with the opposite side. And we're going to roll our palm down and then slowly return up. Down and then nice and slow up. Once you do 15 reps, we're going to switch. So the band now is attached from the inner side and coming up from the inner leg. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start with the palm down. We're going to roll our palm up and then very slowly return to start position. And we'll do that for 15 reps. Okay, so this is strengthening the rotators of the forearm and wrist. So a couple of things, some self-massage, either with your fingers or a Theragun, stretching of the forearm muscles to create more wrist extension and flexion, and then strengthening of the forearm muscles, the muscles that flex our wrist, extend our wrist, and rotate our forearm, are all great ways to improve tendon health, to help mitigate the challenges that you're going to face from elbow tendonitis, and most importantly, prevent it from getting worse down the line. I hope this helps.